All right, y'all. If y'all just saw that video, that might have been game shifting. That might have changed things. That might have opened a lot of eyes. That might have like destroyed some things. Like that's interesting. From what I saw, like I've heard, I've been in the industry and I just researched it. You can see it. We've heard the concept like second highest paid industry in the world, and before this, like I really didn't know about it, but like we kind of see based off the stats. And now we kind of see it. What I didn't know, like I had like put it together until I looked at the stats and you kind of see it there, like higher than doctors. Wow, that's game changing. Almost double real estate. Whoa, I did not know that. That's crazy. And as you can see, like this is the Department of Labor. Like this is wild. Like that's crazy. It's average stats. It was wild. In same capacity, it was really an insight. And not only was it like the top one and two in terms of the financial service industry, but like doctor to be a doctor that was the tenth highest paid. If we looked at the 208 and compared that to the stats based off of this Department of Labor, 10th highest paid. That's interesting. 14 years. Now, if that's your calling, I respect it. But if that is financial considerations, I would review it. Maybe time for a shit. Yeah, but that was like wow, game changing. Wow. And I also do want to make sure I cover one more quick thing before I even hop into it a bit. Just a little bit. Quick video. But yeah. That real estate, because I did, if you ever saw that, some of y'all, like, you're pretty attentive to details. That's my point. I would be mindful as well, especially because I was in real estate. So I was like, yeah, I've worked with, like, doctors pretty closely, very closely. So yeah, but relations to real estate with relations to real estate specifically, um, there was, because I know I was looking at just crossing and just, I was curious about stats. That there was that one site, I believe I looked at it, and it said, like, that there was 300, like the average salary was 300,000. I looked at like highest paying real estate jobs and salaries. I don't consider real estate a job, but highest paying real estate jobs for the search, highest paying real estate jobs and salaries, um, like at all, like in the nation, right? And there was that one link, if y'all saw it, like I think it was like the fourth one. Well, it said it was like 288 to like 300,000. Yeah, so I looked into that. Actually, would create a second link if y'all want me to drop that or a second video. If y'all want me to drop the second video, just let me know. But that was like, it had like 25 lists, and it had like the top executives, top retails, executives in real estate. Like that was their typical salary, and that's consideration. But if you want to compare, like just consideration, just consider the top. So, but if you want to compare like the top persons in industries, we have Warren Buffett and Ray Dalio. I don't know what else to say about that. And also like Jeff Bezos, we all know, like we seen Amazon, right? I read the book Everything Store, right? Like before his career, like before he even started at Amazon, he was actually, guess what, in the financial services industry. Like he's mentioning it. It's crazy. Second highest paid in this world, highest paid person in the world, has a background in the financial services industry. And if you read the book, he said he still uses insights from the financial services industry, like that he learned at D. Shaw, and his business today at Amazon. Crazy how it grow. There's a lot of IT companies, not all of them the highest paid in the world. Just consideration. But yeah, I mean, and that kind of correlates about the shift kind of like into who I am, how I started into this, and then like a question from there. See, that kind of shifted, like regardless of like what business you're in, what industry you're at. If you're ever considering running a business today, one, you have to be able to track to the largest millennials, two generations, which is Generation Z and millennials. They're a different breed. All right. They do not. What different breed? I mean, they're born from the age to the time period of 1984 to 2010. Right. They're a different breed. They don't want to work for 40 years behind a 401k for $40,000 a year. They want to travel, live their best life, be paid with their worth, and serve and make an impact in the world. Which otherwise, and that last time I checked, that's hard to do behind a desk or kiosk. Which means what they want is entrepreneurship. In other words, business ownership. But in the same capacity, they kind of compare that to Jeff Bezos, and we kind of see seeing based off of that, like based off any stats, just personal recommendation, like we seeing what? I cut this out, but they said that 90% of businesses fail after their first year, 95 after their first 5 years, and all has to do with financial considerations. I mean, if you have finances, you can pretty much figure some situations out. Resources, not everything is financial, but like if you learn how to manage that, you can keep business going. But if you don't have finances, what happens to the business then? So one consideration is that whatever business, regardless of the business you're considering, whether it's music, whether it's producing, whether it's entrepreneurs, whether it's baking, whether it's real estate, whether it's any business aspects, one consideration is to take the time and the consideration and part time to get an understanding of the financial services industry. Because what I learned is like there's a lot of information in it, like key thing. And there's a quote actually by Tony Robbins. It's in his book, Master King. It says, "In the financial industry, it's a little different. It's like a jungle. What you don't know can hurt you. So be informed." All right. So I'm gonna take just a quick shift. So why? So this is one consideration. There was 4 reasons why actually I shifted. So just a little bit more about me. Hello, y'all. Good afternoon. Good to meet y'all. My name is Nathan Johnson. I was a triple major at Stevens University. I was business information systems, minor in real estate on track, and completing business technology administration. My master's in business technology administration. I was also working full time at Amazon. I did a lot of IT, had internships lined up, and I was also. I'm a big part of my story is that I'm the oldest of 3 of his sisters. Hey, good to see ya. And they're more like half my age, so I consider more like my kids than my sisters. So, but around 2019, there was a bit of a shift. It opened eyes. For some of you all, that should be pretty familiar. Around 2020, there was a shift. Right? Don't worry about it. Around 2019, there was a shift for myself and my family. Right? So I realized like something that we thought was temporary turned out to be something chronic. And it actually ended up putting my sister in the hospital for 3 months straight. We wanted to take her to the best hospital possible. Yeah, we wanted to take it to the best hospital possible, and we did. We took it to it was a multi-billion-dollar hospital. However, they had differences in views. My mom at the time in the hospital had differences in views. The hospital was more pharmaceutical, and my mom was more naturopathic. So there was differences in views as to how to treat my sister. Because there were certain side effects from the treatment, so there was differences in views how to treat her. So what actually happens is that mom went to get a second opinion, and the hospital actually ended up taking custody of my sisters away from my mom at gunpoint. So my sister ends up in the hospital alone, in pain and hysterical. And she calls me up one day and she says, "Nate, I don't want to be on this earth anymore." I say, "Whoa, whoa, 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 hold up, wait, hold up, cut, wait. Sue what? Sue? No. Sue what? Sue who? No, that's my sister. No, that don't happen. No, so I drop everything. And we get through the time period. Like we want to get through this. Like tough times will last. Tough people do. Like we going to get through this. So we get it through that time period, like mentally, emotionally, and so forth. We get it through that time period. However, during that time period, I learned 4 key lessons. 1, I realized that, like I didn't have as much time as I thought I did. Like I realized that an unexpected could occur at any moment. Like it's just coming. Like and we've seen that today. Like the unexpected can occur at any moment. So I realized that I wanted to make the most of every moment because I just did. So like it's like cause we only have a certain amount of moments. We only have a certain dash. That dash between the numbers. So we have to make the most of the numbers. Who wants to make the most of the numbers? I realize I have to. 2. I realized that at that time, like I never ever want to be broke ever again. It was crucial because I realized at that time that like well, there's multiple levels of broke, right? So there's broke and you don't have money, like you just don't. I wasn't quite at that place because I was working full time in that school, but I understand. I've seen that. There was broke in you don't really have time because like maybe you're getting decent income, but all your time's like kind of going like to create an income. You just don't have the time. And then there's broke is and third of broke is in like you're getting broke, like you're getting finances, but all those finances are going towards bills. It's broke. So I wanted to be in an opportunity where there was both active and residual income, where I was there or not, like it was creating. And the kind of considerations that specifically at that time was occurring was that I was trying to take care of my sisters, and I realized that there should never really be the choice between focusing on what matters most, and if you can afford to do so. So I really wanted to create that active and residual income. It was crucial. 3, to provide family is necessary, like financial sustainability. 3, quality time. I realized at that time, like those type of moments tend to be eye opening, just like now, like eye opening, like coronavirus shifts teach you a lot. I realized that at that time, now at home you probably have a little bit more time, but at that time, I was a triple major and I was working full time, so I realized I didn't have as much time as I really wanted to with my family, like my girls, and I was like I have to create some shifts, and it's like quality time isn't like like time to spend with family, but there's also quality of time, which is like if you want to learn French, let's go to Paris. If you want to learn how to cook, let's get a master chef. If you want to see the world, it's not Instagram and Google, it's let's go travel. Got you. So I wanted to create quality times like those my little ones. Those my supply. I have family in the future. Like I want to make sure to take care of like quality time, quality of time. 3. And then 4, I realized now I'm not gonna say that's just a wonderful location. I learned a lot of great lessons. Wonderful location. It was on point. Woo! Yes. Great. It was great. I learned like top 5 of the people. It was cool. But I'm not gonna say that it ever was like clocking in, clocking out. Like that never happened. Like going through the bush, never happened, right? But what I realized that I really wanted to be an so I realized that I wanted to be an opportunity where I could serve people, like where I can make an impact. Because going back to point number 1, we're only certain amount of time, like where I can make a big impact with people today, and also in the long term. So I want to be an opportunity where those who serve the most earn the most. I have the vision to serve like millions of people, soon to be billions, and not becoming trillions of people. We'll talk about it in the future, but trillions of people. I want to be an opportunity because I know every moment counts. Where like what I'm doing today is going to be an opportunity to impact the long term. And the question you before even shifting is kind of considering those 4 capacities. Like what speaks to you most? Do you realize? Are you the type of person where you're like, hey, I realize I only have a certain amount of time, only that dash between those 2 numbers. Like the fact of the matter is, we're all going to die. Like it's unfortunate, but it's true, and that could either be something that's sad for you, something that we kind of ignore, or as Brendan Bachar kind of said, mortality and motivation. I realize I have to get it done. 2, are you realizing, hey, like I'm putting in all this work, but I want to make sure it pays off. Like it creates an impact for like loved ones and families because it's so crucial. I don't want to be in a position where I have to kind of consider, hey, focus on what's most and whether I can afford to do so. Dedication. You gotta get that freedom. Finances, what I've heard is like finance is like oxygen. It's good when you have it, but it's not so good if you don't. I know that it's not only necessary for the future to make sure that we have the oxygen and breathing room, but also for my family. I want them to have a certain level of breathing room as well. 3, quality time, quality experience. And you realize that, hey, man, I may go to this field. Maybe I'm making good money. Or maybe it ain't getting me squat. It definitely has time to make adjustments. Maybe I'm making good money, but I don't really have any time. I'm trading most of my hours, my breath, my life for that income. It's not great. Like I'm trying to create that experience, like for who you care about most. Or, man, I just need to create more income. Like my active, I'm grinding, I'm working. I believe there's hardworking people, like they are, but it's just not catching up. Inflation is increasing. Like the cost of everything's going up. Like how do we get there? I need to increase this income. 3, and also be aware of how to do so as well. That was the last point on that. And create both active and residuals because I don't want to work for the rest of your life. Are you planning on dying at your job? So maybe you're trying to consider shift. It's crazy. 3. And then 4, man, you got a big heart, man. Like you got a big contribution. You feel this mission in yourself. You got like you feel like I think we're all born with this dream, this aspiration to serve, to make an impact. And the only question is, in consideration of the fact that we have that we realize that we only have a certain amount of time. Like, is what you're doing today, is it feeding into that fish, into that mission, to that vision, to that contribution, to that better best self, or is it almost taken away from you? Are you dying? Do you feel like you're almost dying when you go on the job slowly? Is it getting dimmer? It's over. You know those things? Maybe it's time for the shit. Consider it. Which one? Just think. Which one can like? Out of those four, which one is kind of next to you most, and how would you want to see better? How you want to shift? So yeah, those are the four things I've already learned. But fast forward, we're gonna shift back because I want to share some things and make sure some point because I'm working on found it. This was a start. It was an invitation. It was cool. But realized I had to make a shift. So fast forward, that was May 2019 through June 2019. Or July 2019. But yeah, so that was 3 months, and I actually had to compress because I was still full time student at that time. Still work full time, but I had to compress what I had to do in 4 months, and it's 2 part. I had to compress what I had to do in 4 months into 1 month. Because I had full scholarship, but I often realized that scholarships, because of work, but scholarships, they're often money behind a glass wall. They'll cover tuition and sometimes some of the classes, but some cases books. But like you still gotta eat, you still gotta have a place to live. Like still gotta build. So I had to compress what I had to do in 4 months into a month. So that was really just an indication, like never ever want to be broke again, ever. And then also this is shift. I haven't yet mentioned it, but it's just crucial. Right around that time period, I was asked another question. It was huge. I was 20 at the time. Hey, for all y'all old folks, age ain't number the number. Make the most of your time. I want to make the impact, right? Let's go. Let's get this. But anyway, so I'm in the hospital, and because the situation occurred a little earlier, like those persons, CPS, they literally communicate and say, "Hey Nate," they come to me. I'm taking what they say. "Hey Nate, are you ready to be a father at 20?" And I had to ask myself, like, once again, those girls are half my age, so like that wasn't an aspect. But like looking at the industry I'm in, looking at how long I'm working, looking at the next 5-10 years, I can see I'm working with the people I'm working with. Like, and will I really be in a position? I've seen how expensive kids can be. Some of y'all already have kids. Like, y'all know how it can be. At what I'm working now, is it really creating that sustainability? Another capacity which kind of correlates to today. Like, so I was there. I was there for nearly about 2 years where I worked. But I've also seen hundreds of people just like suddenly let go. Like in my first couple of months. Some of y'all can correlate with that today. If you had kids, or if you're ever considering having kids, I had to ask myself the question. I was like, am I putting myself in a position? Am I ready to take care of that? Something like, well, I've seen an interesting stat today. A lot of millennials, they're not even having kids. They're having kids later because they're like, wow, it costs so much to have them. I later learned, hadn't shown this, but the average by 2025, well, from 0 to 18, the average kid can cost about $268,000. There's a video on Valuetainment. Patrick by David, check it out. Communicates that. And also, within the next, check it out. Next 5 years, by 2025, they're saying that for the average family of 4, I actually have 3 sisters, so I had to consider, hey, if they did that with 1, would I have to consider all 3 of them? So it's like, hey, consideration. But for the average family of 4, some of y'all thinking, hey, wife, husband, 2 kids. Saying by the year of 2025, the minimum wage for a family such as that will be about $250,000. Based off the information we just saw in that industry, are you on track to be able to handle that? It's so great. I'm happy for you. If not, maybe it might be time for a shift. I had to consider where am I going to put my time and my energy because those are the 2 things. Like you only have a certain amount. So I'm focused. Might be time for a shift. So I was looking at it. I get asked this question. I'm like, wow, I don't know. Like I was making things happen, but like 5-10 years down the line, either the income wasn't that decent. Actually, it's not according to the video, but IT at that particular level, looking based off the Department of Labor, it's not in the top 25. It's actually about 43 out of the industry. So I was like, wow, I didn't know that until present. But at that time, looking down the line, they make 60, 100K, like. That's interesting. I'm looking a few down the line. I'm not sure like that capacity. And also like time with family. Like I didn't want my family, my girls, my squad to be raised by TV. I didn't create this interaction, put out assignment just so they can be raised by that, and then we can play. Oh, yeah, it's not ideal. I wanted to create quality experiences. So I'm like, at this point, and the industry I'm at and what I'm working in, is that correlate? Like, am I right? And I looked at him like, no, like that's not no. So when Angel was in the hospital, it shift. When I was at the point, I was like, all right, I can say some things. When I got that information, I was like, yeah, I really got to start looking. So I really got active. Blessedly, back to a little bit. Around 2019, I actually got a call. One of my blessedly, I got a call from a previous fraternity member who was also in university. He got an opportunity that was handed to him, and little did I know it was the third largest, fastest growing services at that time. So wow. And he shared with me a little bit more about like, hey, there's an opportunity to learn more about business finances and money, like and generational wealth. All those things are like check. I'll check it out. Yeah. I didn't know anything to say about it. I was like, it sounds so much. I was like, yeah, I'll check it out. So he asked me to hop onto the Zoom call, and I got exposed to something different. I met a dude by the name of Hart. So I have Howard County experience. I'm gonna be Howard experience. I worked and strived, and a lot of people gave me the opportunity because there was a lot of interesting stuff behind it, right? And Howard County is considered for it because it's made over national and so forth. It's in Maryland, and it has pretty decent, pretty education is pretty well known for that. I was excited about that. On the other end, I've also seen with Baltimore. I'm pretty close to that as well. At one point, based off the stat, they said it was there's a few, I think 100,000 cities in the United States. They said at one point Baltimore was 23 in terms of like highest murder rate. So good, bad, and ugly. And I was fighting for the opportunity. So, but even in the opportunity, I was exposed to something different. I met a dude by the name of Hart. He shared a little bit more about like who was his impact. Now I had no idea who he was at that time, but he was actually one of the youngest senior vice presidents of the largest, fastest growing financial services industry company in the industry. I was like, wow, that's cool. And he shared with me about like how he's making $500,000 now. If you just realize, check your back, I was like, okay, that's pretty good income. You need the thing. If y'all considering kids, y'all are considering like lifestyle, creating growth, like hey, on track, like that's on point. Yeah, I like it. And he also shared like how they create income. It didn't seem that tough, and it was also certain families are like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like I like it. And little did I know, I didn't know at that time, but it also created great residuals. It was making more than I made at Amazon. Like it was making more than I made at Amazon, like ever, like than I ever made. In some cases, almost triple that. I was like, wow, a few hundred times that. Like, wow, second highest paid in the world behind professional athletes. So I was like, wow, this is super, super cool. This is insightful. But yeah, he was making good income. It didn't seem that tough. It seemed like pretty aligned. I was also serving families. It was on point. But also, what I really, really loved about it was that he also like I've actually seen his kids in the office with him. That was cool. I love that capacity. And then his wife is also in the business with him, creating that growth, and he's making an impact in his family. So I was like, wow, that's on point. And about the community, that was crucial. So by that time, like, wow, this is cool. Like, what the internet thing? Like, what I got to do? What's happening? But at the time, I hadn't got asked. I just thought it was information, so I couldn't do it. But I paid off all my expenses, kept working, grind, because like never broke again. But right around that January time period, blessed, I got another call. Now, and actually got started. I recognized opportunities, saw the people, and I met a dude by the name of Greg Brown. He challenged me to become more than I was presently demonstrating. But something he challenged me to be something else inside me, but more than I was presently demonstrating. It was cool. And fast forward today, like we're seeing a lot of opportunity. It's in a pandemic recession-proof industry. We've served a few hundred clients since March, since it really shut down, and seen only about 3 in person. Just because they really want to see people in person. I was like, wow. But like 100% virtual. And if you ever check it, there's another video if you just want to check that out. How to create wealth post-pandemic by a dude named Sapuala. Super fire dude, man. If you ever check out the page, like huge. But not big, 7-figure squads. Huge. Cool. You'll actually see that not only is it the second highest paid industry in the world, which I learned, I was like trying to create an impact, but it's also like in this recession-proof time period, and this is statistically based off statistics. Out of every industry, so that's real estate, that's definitely hospitality, travel, also even the medical field. Um, every industry in the nation that I've seen so far, check it. It had the lowest unemployment rate in the nation through this time period. It's like wow, especially our company. So it's moving. So it's like creating impact. So but that's just a job. That's a job. So that was really, really cool. Like just to see this insight. So the kind of question and inquiry to consider now is like, hey, based off of those four things, or whatever you're hearing or thinking was going through your mind right now. So y'all, like what I believe is that there's not like a lack of people who are trying to strive, people who are trying to work hard, people who are trying to grow, people are trying to create better. I believe it's oftentimes like we're trying to do the best that we know. But when we know better, we can do better. It's crucial capacity. So if you just got educated like I did, like you just kind of got the insight and you kind of looking at those, whatever's in your mind right now, all those four capacities, like, that's is it time for a shift? And if so, would you be open to and considering the financial services industry? Another shift. But if you have any other questions, DM me, drop a comment below. I'll drop some of the stats from the video below. Department of Labor link, real estate link, a couple other links. And if you have the questions, let's go. But I mean, it's just insightful because we're all gonna put time, energy, effort somewhere. Most of us left with born with the silver spoon. Like, I think we all. You do. In that case, you still gotta maintain. We all have to work. We all have to put the energy in. The only kind of consideration is where do you want to put the energy in the same capacity, wherever you put your energy in, wherever you put that effort in, make sure it pays off. But hey, so stay up, Instagram land, Facebook land, LinkedIn land, people across the world, stay up, be blessed. I hope all is well with you, wonderful with you. I hope this video was beneficial and value added to you, create that growth to you. And if you have any comments or communications, drop a comment below. I'm very curious. Or if you have more questions, feel free to either drop a comment below or DM me directly. And I hope all goes well with you. And consider that because I want to make the most of your time because we only have a certain amount of it. But hey, the main capacity, all the people in the world, remember that we are blessed and blessed to be a blessing. Blessed with wisdom too, so let's be the right city. But yeah, blessed to be a blessing. Stay up, and I'll talk to you soon.